Hi, I'm Sarah Kajamko at the G20, and I'm joined by John Kirton, co-director of the G20 Research Group. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon.
First off, the focus has shifted from stimulus to austerity here, and in what seems like an agree to disagree sort of situation. Do you see this compromise as an effective way to avoid a double-dip recession when we live in such a global economy?
Well, I read the communique very differently. What I see is Team Toronto united on a strategy that puts growth first, jobs first, recovery first, and relies on those to help ease the path of exit strategies and medium-term fiscal consolidation. So a strong unity with growth first I'll agree on, and even those countries that have started to cut back, Britain, Germany, a close look will show that they've given themselves a year before the cuts really take effect, and in Germany's case, up to 4 years. So growth now, growth first.
Now, this compromise on the global bank tax means it won't be mandatory, and instead it will be left up to the countries on a case-by-case basis. Who really wins in this situation?
Well, I think a few European leaders made a very bad mistake by trying to take a lost cause and raise it here again in Toronto. Because if you compare what they're likely to say in the Toronto communique here, the missing provision that had been there when G20 finance ministers met was that as we all do our own thing, appropriate for our own national experience, we're going to do it in ways that create a level playing field. That language isn't in the draft communique. It says, look, some of us are going to do bank levies, the rest of us aren't, but no agreement that what the rest of us are doing will be in any way equivalent. So I think it's a loss for the Europeans who are rushing to load yet another tax on their badly stressed banks.
And how has China once again been able to keep the topic of the yuan off the table?
Well, China was very skillful in adjusting in advance, signaling that it would move towards a more market-friendly regime for its exchange rate. But a week before the summit opened, it followed up those words with actual deeds. The yuan has risen a little over the past week against the U.S. dollar. And as the leaders sat down to look at the full array of measures for their mutual assessment and mutual adjustment process, they've all identified that much more is needed. But with China having moved first, it's time for some of the other countries beyond the Asia-Pacific region to take the next step.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your insight, John. Again, this is John Kirton, co-director of the G20 Research Group.